said that the economy grew at a rate of 6.6% in the fiscal year 2021-2022, which is considered the highest growth rate since the year 2008. The minister further said that Egypt advanced 19 positions in the UNDP's Human Development Index of the year 2021. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Dr. Hassan Youssef, Professor of Economics. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Sir, what are the most important topics discussed by the conference in this current session?
There is a couple of points that has been brought out by Her Excellency, the Minister of Planning, and also by the Chairman of the Arab Planning Institute. The report that was a collaboration between both the Arab Planning Institute and the Society for Arab Researchers that, as you mentioned, devoted a good part of it to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemics on the Arab countries. It's important to say that the report presented experiences from different Arab countries in crisis management, and they did put forward a set of recommendations for the economic growth in the post-pandemic era. There are a description of procedures and measures that is necessary to stimulate sustainable economic growth that provide job creation for the Arab country. The economist and the chairman of the board of directors of the National Planning Institute, and this is Dr. Ashraf Al-Arabi, has talked about the importance of the how to finance development. Financing development issue is playing a pivotal role right now in determining the outcome of the development model that exists in the Arab country. Also, one of the highlights of the conference, what has been mentioned by Her Excellency Minister Hala Said about the new initiative that relate to basically nice life for Africa. This is a new initiative that takes a lot of lesson from the nice life or dignified life in Egypt, the major initiative that is now going over a lot of small villages in the countryside of Egypt.
Yes, yes. Dr. Youssef, also the minister spoke about the Egyptian economy. So in her speech, so how do you see the performance of the Egyptian economy despite the pandemic of the COVID-19 and also the war between Russia and Ukraine?
Yes, it's definitely pleasing to hear the minister talking about the highest growth rate last year that happened regardless of what has been one of the most difficult periods that followed the COVID-19.
Yes, not only Egypt, the whole world was facing this.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. But Minister Al-Said mentioned that there is very much a room for improvement, where more role for the private sector to play is going to be in the core of the policies in the coming quarter of this year.
Yes, Her Excellency, the minister spoke about the role of the private sector in financing development projects.
Not only financing, but in diversifying the productive structure of the economy.
Yes.
There will be more importance given to the agriculture sector, to the industry, to the technology and communication sector. And the minister mentioned that a lot of support will be given to also allow small and medium enterprises to grow and to give support to the sector that has been hurt, whether due to the COVID-19 or to the Ukraine-Russia war. Again, the tourism sector is going to be helped and supported by the government in this case. It's important also to share that there are some of the positive indicators that happen. As I mentioned, the high rate of growth, 6.6, 21-22. That's the highest growth rate in the last 14 years.
Yes.
And the unemployment rate has also gone down in the last quarter of last year to around 7.2%. Egypt has literally jumped about 19 positions. That's in the Human Development Report of the United Nations and the World Bank. This is all very good news, but as I mentioned, there is a lot of room for improvement, and also on behalf of Africa, hosting the COP27 is going to give Egypt a lot of clout in trying to get the different parties to finance development and green economies projects, not only in Egypt, but in Africa as a whole. My colleagues and friend, Dr. Mahmoud Muhyiddin, is really working very hard in the last 4 months in order to bring about a lot of new projects, and he promised that this specific COP, not like the other COP, is going to be known for bringing finance to the green project, to the climate change.
Yes, and also the last reports, also by analysts, have said that the two things that Egypt depend on as the national income, which is the Suez Canal and also the tourism, have witnessed a great leap recently, and the revenues of the Suez Canal are high. Yes,
yes.
Dr. Youssef, so how...
Hassan Youssef, please.
Yes, Dr. Hassan Youssef, Dr. Hassan Youssef, how does achieving sustainable development affect the economic conditions in the Arab countries?
Well, again, there is a lot of emphasis on the cooperation between Egypt and the different Arab countries.
Yes.
As the Minister of Planning affirmed that Egypt takes pride in the constant communication between Egypt and the rest of the Arab countries in order to exchange visions and ideas and experience and build on the successful experiences that exist in the different countries. Yes. Especially in light of the Egyptian development experience in the last few years. So there is definitely a lot of room here for not only cooperation between the different Arab countries, but also cooperation between private sector and public sector and NGOs inside Egypt. There was mention of that even in the Vision 2030 that the Ministry of Planning is putting forward.
Yes. So, Dr. Hassan Youssef, how does the cooperation between the Arab countries would provide the economic integration?
We have been talking as economists about that for a very long period of time. The complementarities between the Arab countries is quite stark and quite obvious. There are Arab countries that has the capital and surplus of that,
Yes.
The Gulf countries are examples. And there are countries that has very fertile agriculture land. Sudan is the prime example of that. Other countries does have the skilled labor force and the market, the population. Egypt is a very good example of that. So if these countries came together, you can see very quickly that input factors will be available and they can do a lot of things. The example of the European getting together in the European Union really makes the Arab Union really inevitable and very much a need right now. It's not a
Yes.
luxury anymore.
Yes, yes. Dr. Hassan, Youssef, what is the size of the cooperation between the economic cooperation between Egypt and Arab countries? Not exactly the amount or the percentage, or I mean, what kind of cooperation is taking place, economic cooperation taking place between Egypt and the Arab countries in what fields?
We do have, of course, a lot of Arab guests in Egypt in terms of tourism. That's one way to do it. But I think the production side, we haven't seen as much cooperation as we want to see. Again, complementarity should be the prime objective, meaning we don't have to compete with one another. Rather, we should complement one another. So there are, as you probably know, foreign direct investment coming from countries in the Gulf. As you know, a lot of companies, Almar is one of them, DR is the other from Qatar. There are a lot of now sovereign wealth funds from Gulf country buying Egyptian private companies. These all are kind of cooperation, but I think what we really need is to have an integrated Arab project that can take the Arab product to the rest of the world. I don't think we need any thing to complement us in the Arab country, but we really can build a big industry that could really invade Africa, could really fulfill the needs of the European countries right now.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Hassan Youssef, Professor of Economics. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.